Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the County Chairs Association. It's February 26, 2025, and the time is 7:03 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and do the roll call. Secretary McClintock is going to be a little bit late here for the meeting. Um, so do we have Barber County Joyce Wilson? Berkeley County, Tammy Offit.
I'm here.
Hi, Tammy. Boone County, Susan Grubbs. Braxton County, Terry Collins.
Here.
Welcome. Brooke County, Anna Gillespie. Cabell, Amanda Beach. Clay County, Joe Murphy. Doddridge, Cindy Welch. Fayette, Pam Garrison.
Here, and my vice chair is going to join if you will let him in. It's Jerry Allen if you see him coming in. So that's the
Okay.
Fayette County vice chair.
Okay, thank you. Greenbrier, Paul Detch. Hampshire, Dorothy Kingla.
Present.
Welcome. Hancock, Kathy Link.
Here.
Welcome. Hardy, John Rosado. Harrison, Christina Murphy. Jackson, Danny Mitchell. Jefferson, Lee Kuntz.
I'm here.
Welcome, Lee. Kanawha, Elaine Harris, Proxy Rick Staten.
I'm here.
Thank you, Rick. Lewis, Bob Stoltz. Lincoln, Dennis Lawson. Logan, Vicky Colota. Marion, Jared Powell.
Here.
Marshall, Barbara Scott. Mason, Jerry Howard. McDowell, Don Hicks. Mercer, Deb McCarthy. Mineral, Jason Armentrout. Monongalia, Cal Carlson, I'm here. Monroe, Becky Crabtree. Morgan, Jim Hoyt.
I'm here.
Welcome, Jim. Nicholas, Pam Klein.
Here.
Welcome, Pam. Ohio, Mark Garrett.
Eddie Grogan, Vice Chair for Mark.
Thank you, Teddy. Pendleton, Isaac Sponoggle. Pleasance, Al Thacker. Pocahontas, Jay Miller. Preston, Dale McCrae. Putnam, Ben Barkey.
Present.
Welcome. Raleigh, Danielle Stewart. Randolph, Cindy Stemple.
Here.
Welcome, Cindy. Richie, Lisa Lucas. Roan, Claire Daniel.
I'm here.
Welcome, Claire. Summers, Joseph Ackerman.
Speaking. Here I am.
Welcome. Taylor, Mike Withers. Tucker, Michael McClintock. Tyler, Elliot Kendall. Upshur, Matthew Kerner. Wayne, Wilt Sammons. Webster, Penny Graham.
I'm here.
Thank you, Penny. Wetzel, Terry, Tyler. Wirt, Jerry Brookover. Wood, Jeff Fox.
Here.
Thank you, Jeff. And Wyoming, David Thompson. Is there anybody who's here that I did not call?
Terry
Cal,
Rhoda,
this is-
Oh.
Go ahead, Terry.
Terry Rhodeball, co-chair Nicholas County.
Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, Cal.
And Cal, this is John Rosado from Hardy. I just joined a few minutes late.
Okay, thank you, John. So we have 1, 2. So we do have 18 chairs present. A quorum of the 40% would be 20. So no official action can be taken tonight if I'm correct, but we can still go through and do reports and just kind of have a general discussion without taking action. For the first item, just in the interest of time, Executive Director Ryan Frankenberry is on tonight, and he wanted to share some announcements with the group.
Hey, thanks, Kyle. There we go. Hey, everyone. I'm going to keep it brief. We have had the flu running through our household, and I have not tested positive, but both of my kids have, so it's been a rough couple days. I wanted to say we had a really successful meeting this past Saturday of the State Executive Committee. There is a recording of it, of course, on YouTube. Highly encourage you to check that out when you have a chance. Lots of great information. With that being said, we have scheduled out we're still calling them tentative, but we're really going to try to stick with it for our quarterly SDEC meetings. The next one is going to be April 26th. Our summer meeting will be, hold on, I gotta look at my calendar. Had it in my head just a minute ago. June, yep, 28th. That one will be a Zoom. And then October 4th, in person in Charleston. The April 26th is intended to be a not Charleston meeting. It is an in-person only meeting. And I'd like to talk to you all that are present about potentially hosting. I'm going to send an email out to the county chair list with just some essentially a plan on if you or a group of counties would like to submit essentially a bid to host the April 26th meeting. The state party does plan to support with some funds. So that could be, for perhaps lunch or refreshments. We do try to keep things as low budget as possible. So, if we can find a location that is free or low cost, that would be ideal. And again, our goal is to get out of Charleston. So expect an email. I'm happy to have conversations. It is not a high pressure thing. We don't, if you don't feel like you can coordinate it, no worries. If you have a great location but aren't sure exactly how it would go, these are really easy to organize, and I will of course help. Tammy, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question. Location would need to be able to accommodate how many people?
Yeah, I'll send all the details, but ideally we like to plan on 100, even if that's not what turns out. But we have 93-ish on the actual voting list for the executive committee. Of course, we also know that we're going to have anywhere between 20 and 30% no show. We would like to have that not happen. We'd like to get everybody active and engaged. So that's what we're looking at, probably around 100. The library here, when we host, it can seat basically 100. I think they may say that they can hold 125, but we've certainly never had that many that I can recall. We did have one last year, I think, that was filled the room. Our one in Weston filled that room pretty well. That was a great location. It was the painters training center. So put that in mind. We'll send out essentially like a bid packet. We'll review things. We've got a little bit of time. We don't want to take too much time, but we basically have at least about 30 days, about 4 weeks to figure out the location. So that's that. And the October 4th meeting will be in Charleston, likely to coincide with an arcade dinner. That's going to give us opportunities to be reaching out for keynote speakers, which I think that we will land a really great keynote speaker this year. We had a great one last year planned, and then the storms came through, and we still had a great speaker in the mayor of Cincinnati. Um, uh, oh, please be sending me your county committee meetings and other events too. You can send them to events@wvdemocrats.com or just email them to me, Ryan@wvdemocrats.com. We're trying to keep the events page and the calendar uploaded. It does not have to be specifically your county executive committee meeting. It can be other things that are going on. We're posting things like some of the protests that we get awareness of. We will put them on there. That kind of thing. Updating your executive committee list. We really need to work on making sure that our executive committee lists are updated with the Secretary of State. If you have any questions, give me a call. The forms are easy to fill out, and the chairs can absolutely get that taken care of. And one of the goals that Chair Martin, the new DNC chair, is pushing is that we really try to increase our executive committee membership and attendance. Right, and events. That leads me into our, so that's party building. We're focused on party building nonstop. Excited. I'm not sure if yeah, there's Terry with Braxton County. We gave a big shout out to Braxton County for forming rather quickly, and there's a lot of folks that had a hand in that. Glenn Elliott's campaign. The Steve campaign, Pam and Terry have all helped get folks together, and then Terry Collins and Marty Wine and a couple other folks in Braxton County have moved incredibly fast and are up to. I mean, they're rolling, and I won't take away from any kind of update that they may give, but. To be sure, we really need to have updated lists of make sure that our county chairs are updated, make sure that our county parties are updated. We're going to be updating the county chairs list and contacts on the website. We're getting a lot of interest through the website for local events. So please be on the lookout that we're going to be connecting you with folks from your counties as they reach out to the state party so that we can plug them into things that your counties may be doing. There's a lot of interest right now. That leads me to, of course, our other responsibility, which is recruitment of candidates. Every county has multiple seats up in 2026. In fact, we have a lot that have some municipalities in 2025. If you've got municipal races, you've got candidates that you need connected to the voter file, let me know. We need to be playing in nonpartisan races. As long as they are a Democrat running in a nonpartisan race, we will absolutely help them. So if you've got a nonpartisan or partisan municipal in 25, reach out, please. We're going to be rolling out some more recruitment stuff. And finally, I'm just going to say, and Pam, I do see your hand up. We are I'm going to start hosting bi-weekly office hours in the evening on Mondays. One will be for Vote Builder, one will be for recruitment and party building. And these are going to be office hours. They're going to be, just pop in. You got a question, you need some help, do that. And finally, Vote Builder access. We did get the data in sooner now that the legislature condensed the time that the county clerks had to report to the Secretary of State. So we have gotten that information for the general election voting history has been processed through the DNC data team into Vote Builder, and county committees have all been reactivated. So you should have you should have access. If you need access, please just reach out. If I had a glitch, just reach out. Pam, I'll go ahead and take yours. And I think Jeff, you may have your hand up or not. Okay.
I just wanted to follow up behind you on Braxton County's meeting, how great it was. You said the other day they had about 30 people. It was very invigorating. And from that meeting, we got 2 more names for contacts in Calhoun County, and Terry got 2 in Gilmer County today. So we're going to start working on those 2 counties. I got a meeting with the 2 in Calhoun next week. So we're pushing that forward.
Awesome. Awesome. And Calhoun County does have people that were on the ballot and got elected, and they used to have an active committee. And then Deidre Purdy, the chair, stepped back, I think just for personal reasons. They have they have a very active Facebook page. So that's the other thing is just, we're doing our best trying to share information between the party and the House caucus. If you haven't subscribed to the House caucus, the House Democrats Substack, we'll send that around again. They're updating that several times a week with different key points of information. I'm still not a big TikToker, but there's a lot of them doing TikToks now, and we're trying to encourage everybody to cross-post all the videos onto the native platforms so that they get more attention. Kayla and John Williams and Fluharty and Pushkin and who else is doing a lot of good ones? There's a lot of good ones out there. Joey Garcia is doing a lot of good video updates as well. So be sure to follow along on that. We've been focused also on driving the narrative of the flooding in the southern coal fields, and particularly around the fact that Donald Trump hasn't even said a word about it. Expect to see some national hits coming out on that as well. Yeah. Pam, do you still have your hand up, or was that from the reason? Okay, Lee, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Real quick, since you mentioned TikTok, I just wanted to share that in Jefferson County, we've started using it a little bit, and we're mainly using it for more national news because that's what seems to attract viewers. We've also done it with local things like our 2 commissioners who were removed from office, things of that nature. But there was one particular TikTok that we posted that got over 250,000 views, close to 50,000 likes, tons of interaction. Most of it was national, but I have gone through, or most of it were people who aren't here in Jefferson County, but I have gone through a lot of the viewers and the people who commented, and I have found people in Jefferson County. So our next, and sometimes it's hard with usernames, but our next level with that is to then try and reach out to those folks through a different means and say, these are our meetings, these are our events. But just a small piece maybe of advice for those who may have TikTok, that at least to start out, doing some more national things, even though we're a red state, may be very fruitful. So just wanted to share that. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Lee. What was the topic of the video that got that response?
When Congresswomen Gwen Moore and Judy Chu went to Mike Johnson's office and sort of said, what you're doing is wrong, that the confrontation of it to BIPOC women who are very, active. It was just including their pictures and then a screenshot of part of the article. I think Politico ran it, basically saying, these 2 women are taking on Mike Johnson. So that was the topic there. And just for sort of reference, one of the commission posts we made about our 2 commissioners who weren't attending meetings, I think the most impressions was maybe 1,800. So 250,000 national, 1,800 local. We've posted other national stuff that's just gotten, like 2,000 hits. But the one or two things that really catch on have enabled us to grow our following too.
Great. Yeah, we are the party is on TikTok. We are not posting right now. We're basically just sharing all of our electeds, and we're trying to follow counties too. So I'll make sure that we're following. The other thing is, like, when you're posting, if your county has a social media presence, please tag the party so that we can repost it and just amplify it because it helps with the algorithms. Chair Carlson, I think that's all I have right now. I'm probably forgetting things, but please reach out if you need anything. I'm around.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the update and all of the good information. And I'm happy to report that while Ryan was speaking, we have achieved quorum, so we can vote on things. Yay. Um, so we will just backtrack here on the agenda and move to the consideration of the minutes from the January 29th, 2025 meeting. I sent those out with meeting notice. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I would
Or
move that we waive the reading and approve the minutes
okay. Is there a
from the January,
second.
whatever that meeting was now.
Okay, and then who was the second? I'm sorry.
Claire from Roan.
Okay, thank you so much, Claire. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and the minutes from the January 29th meeting are approved. Lee, I see you have your hand up.
I was just going to ask if it's possible. The chat appears to not be open totally. I'm only able to send to the co-host. I just wanted to plop the link to that TikTok in the chat so people could see it.
Okay, if you'd like to send it to me, I can send it out to everybody in the chat. I'm trying to work on opening the chat to everybody.
And friends, hey, this is Ryan again. I'm gonna leave now because I've got to get a 6-year-old to bed as well.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Feel better.
Aye.
So moving on now to chair and officer reports. For myself as chair, it's been a really busy month. For me, I've been trying to jumping into this role and just I'm trying to make my rounds. One of my goals is I'm going to try and make it to as many of your meetings as I can, whether that's virtually, whether that's in person. Kind of doing a listening tour all around the state. And if I can't make it to your meetings, I'm always open to having, a Zoom call or a phone call and, learning more about, what's going on in your counties and how I can, best help you all with everything. Ryan covered a lot of what I wanted to report on just about, sharing, about the delegates and what's going on in the legislature and really uplifting that and also the positive messaging. Pam, I see you have your.
Just to follow up on what you're doing, trying to get around the state, if everybody could, and I know not everybody's on the state calendar, but if everybody could maybe send you all their different meetings and include the group, because, I want to try to start hitting the southern part of the state, first congressional district again, too. I'm hoping to get down to Fayette and Raleigh. I'm going to be on the call. I think you were going to try to be tomorrow night, too, for Raleigh County. But if everybody could send their meetings in, so that we all kind of know, too, they're actually out trying to work the state a little bit. So that would really be helpful if everybody send their meeting times in.
Yeah.
If they don't have them on the calendar. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Pam, for that. And that leads me to the next part of my report as well. I'm working on kind of a master spreadsheet that I'm going to put in the county chair's Google Drive that is all of our counties. We have our chair's contact information, but this would be everybody who has social media pages and also some links to other, state Democratic resources with the state party and the Democratic women, as well as some other, West Virginia media West Virginia Watch, Mountain State Spotlight, local newspapers, just so that we kind of have a consolidated and centralized resource hub for information. So if you want to follow pages, or if you know people in another county who are interested, it'll just be easy to share that information. So that's kind of the uh, uh, total report from me. Tammy, did you have anything to report on?
I do. Actually, less of a report and more of what I'm hearing from people. Is there a consolidated list somewhere? I know I follow all of the legislatures on TikTok, and they talk about bills that are horrible that we should be protesting, but is there a consolidated list somewhere? I've had a bunch of people asking me for these lists, and I don't have it. And honestly, there's a lot of bills out there, and I don't have time to read every single one of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not really aware of a centralized one. I know there's groups like the ACLU, League of Women Voters, who do have those bill trackers. Pam, I see your hand, and then Lee after you.
Actually, sorry, I hadn't lowered my hand.
Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Lee.
A little bit to Tammy's point, and I know this hasn't been sent out to everyone yet because it was just launched. The West Virginia Democratic Party Black Caucus on their website, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you Google it, it should come up. They have actually put up a list of bills that they are either concerned about or want to support. So that's not, perfect, sort of like Cal said, ACLU, League of Women Voters, but it's just another resource out there. And it's my understanding that there is a hope to send that link out to all of the chairs in the next day or so. It was literally just launched, so I think they want to make sure there aren't any, bad links or kinks or anything. But that's just another resource that's popping up.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee.
Perfect. Thank you, Tammy. And next we'll hear, because he just popped on the Zoom, Michael, as our outgoing secretary, did you have anything to report for tonight? Okay, I think he's muted. But okay, so
There
we
we
will.
go. No,
Okay.
nothing particular. I think we all saw the minutes. Sorry I'm late. Long day.
Okay. Thank you. And I know with last month, I'll backtrack a little bit. I think this is just kind of an oversight on my part. Michael issued his resignation. I believe it was he amended it to be contingent on the election of the next secretary of the organization. So with that, it would have to be a 30-day notice for the election of that. I'm going to not to keep putting anything on Michael. I'm going to tentatively plan for our April meeting to be the election of our new secretary. So if anybody is interested in taking on that role or anything, that way we can get the notice out in advance, and then we can have a transitional period as well if anybody has any interest in that. You know, Cindy, I see your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't get my hand working, my little hand. Yeah, I just wanted to report a couple things. So I've added about 6 or 7 more people to my emails I do every day, which is really good. And I want to thank Cal for sending information, because a lot of times I'll forward his information on. And it's really helpful to the people. So I don't have to look back over everything, although I spend a lot of time looking at all these bills, but that's another thing. So Mandy Wyrick and Mandy, who had run for state senate, we do a video every weekend and post it. And we've been getting pretty good results from that. We've shared it. The state party has shared it, which I think that's where most of our views are coming from. But it's just to inform people on some things going on in our state and nationally, things that we really need to be paying attention to and to kind of clear up some of the craziness that's out there. So that's one thing that we're doing. We are actually, if anybody's close by and they want to come and join us, we're actually doing a protest next Thursday at our courthouse here. And it's going to be called Save Democracy, Stand Up for Our Workers. And if anybody's close to Randolph County or Elkins, you're welcome to come and bring your sign. It starts at 4 o'clock. It'll go till whenever it goes. They usually last about an hour or so, but if you're close by in a county and you want to come and join us, that would be great. And then I have one more thing. Upshur County is trying to get their executive committee up and going, and they're going to be having a fundraising event on March 14th. And I believe they have sold all of their tickets, which if you know Upshur County, that is kind of amazing. But Mandy Wyrick and I are going over there and I think this is funny, but they've asked us to be their guest speakers, which I'm like, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel there. But but anyway, Mandy and I are going over and we're going to try to help them get Upshur County going. So I'll report back next time on that. They're very excited about all the people. I spoke with Ann Chopiak yesterday, and she said they have people signed up. They're buying tickets for this dinner, and it's not cheap. I mean, it's, and she said, I didn't even know these people were Democrats. So I thought that was a really good sign. So if
Cindy, could you repeat those dates again, please?
it's March 14th.
Okay.
And that's the dinner in Upshur County, and our protest is next Thursday, March 6th at our county courthouse at 4 o'clock. And we're gonna that'll be on the calendar, and our executive meeting is March 11th. So, but I'll be putting that up as well. And we've had 8 new people join our Democratic Women's Organization. So I was pretty happy about that as well. I think people are kind of waking up a little bit, and hopefully we can get things together and make some changes here and in 2026 anyway. But yeah, thanks everybody. I like hearing everything that you all are doing too. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that update, Cindy. We'll move on now to unfinished business. So under unfinished business, the item that I had was the county chair's handbook. This has been an ongoing project, I know, for quite a while. I know Michael has been, I believe, head of the committee for that. And I know some of you have been working on it. I'd like if, by kind of the spring or even the summer, if we want to maybe plan for maybe that April meeting as well to have a finalized draft of that, to present to the county chairs committee, and then we can have that on hand. So if anybody's interested in working on that, let me know, let Michael know. I know Jared works on it as well. So moving on now to new business. The one item that I had to talk about was voter outreach, specifically targeting younger voters. Yeah, as we're kind of looking towards this year and looking, especially towards 2026, I think, one of the things that we should maybe strive to do, and this could, take one of many forms, is trying to do outreach towards younger voters. We can, I know Young Democrats, and Jared can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is 35 and under.
That sounds right, based on
Okay.
CDA says.
Yeah.
36 and under. They added that extra year buffer.
Okay, so 36 and under. And so that gives a really good I don't know, I see it, and I've had, some conversations too just about how it's almost like an untapped market. I know there's a lot of voter apathy in that group. I know I experienced that a lot with my demographic as well. And so I don't know if we wanted to maybe form kind of a, special subcommittee to examine this, or if we wanted to brainstorm some ideas tonight and maybe report back in March about what we can do. I can open the floor up for discussion, or
Well, I'll jump in.
sure, Michael.
So I had spoken with Cal about this a few weeks ago, I think. It's my perception is that, and this may not be true or not, but I seem to have a different experience with young voters in Tucker County. And Tucker County has been very successful in terms of Democratic turnout. But I don't know if it's because we have so many young entrepreneurs in this county, but the level of apathy and the prevalence of the feeling, and this is particularly among young progressives in the county who you would think would be uh, uh, leaders of that age group, natural leaders, or I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, but the I hear over and over again, the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans. We don't want to have anything to do with either party. And they stay home. I mean, voter turnout among that age group is 14%, something like that. And it seems to me that, if there's success with younger people in some of the other counties, it might be really helpful for us to have a subcommittee like that, so we could talk about, maybe why and how different counties, maybe it's rural counties that's more prevalent. I don't know, but it's, my experience seems to be very different from what I hear from some other chairs.
Michael, as another rural county near you, this is John Rosato and Hardy, that
Right.
that really mimics our experience as well. And I think part of it is, young folks who are progressive and kind of living out in Tucker or in Hardy County are kind of living there to get away from it all. I think that's part of it. I like, so why you're living there and what your motivations are, I think do kind of feed into to that level of engagement.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough conversation. I mean, the way I see this is, and look, I'm not entirely happy with the entire Democratic Party platform, but to me, there's and I think almost everybody here would agree, there is a substantive difference between what the Republican Party intends and does and what the Democratic Party does. And there is no chance that a third party candidate is, I mean, the system is set up for two parties. A third party candidate is not going to win high federal office. Highest federal office, let's put it that way. So you sort of have to throw your hat in one ring or the other. At least that's the way I've thought about it for the last 40 years. And you become an activist within your own party to try to affect or change the platform in a direction you think is important. But there's such a difference, and that I can't seem to have that conversation with younger people. And many of these people are I see them all the time socially, and it's just a dead end. And I mean, I would love to be able to have a roundtable discussion or an ongoing committee that talks about this, because I mean, I think that there's more room for us to find votes in that demographic than anywhere else in the state. Just my thinking.
It does seem like they follow our platform, but it also seems like, well, I've been really targeting Gen Zs, and it seems that they're too idealistic. And I remember when I was really young, I supported Ralph Nader, and it was because I thought we could send a message that we wanted people that were more progressive. And then I realized that Ralph Nader was taking votes away from Democrats. And I had actually, maybe 5 years ago, been talking to people my age, which are boomers, and they were talking about third party people. And I said, get real. Third party's not going to win. And we've got a really dangerous person coming up here. And if you can't see how the world can turn with Obama or not Obama, with Trump or with Biden, you better look at what they're saying. Because there's no way. There's no way. It was Hillary and Trump. I said, there's no way that he won't do a heck of a lot more damage than she will, even if she does have corporate ties. And some of them actually joined the executive committee, but it was not even easy with boomers. And I'm afraid that Gen Z said the same thing. They said, well, yeah, but I think that this third party person, I heard some good things about this third party person, and maybe they'll realize that they're just not doing enough for us. And I'm like, well, it can't be really that bad, even if Trump wins for 4 years. I said, it can be the end. But they didn't have the history. They didn't of knowing how much damage Republicans can do. They just didn't have the history to comprehend it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
They didn't,
Thank you.
they didn't agree with anything the Republicans were going for, and they weren't going to vote for a Republican, but they had this idealistic idea that the third party could do something. Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. So
Of course, it made a difference.
thank you. Pam, I see you have your hand up.
I just wanted to follow up with what Michael was saying too. We held our last meeting as a totally strategic planning meeting, and I think the state is going to come up with some good stuff too, but we focused in particularly on the age group Michael was talking about and how their social media is, because, most of us are on Facebook, and I think they're using podcasts. And so I think we definitely need, I want to learn more, but I think we need total input from that age group somewhat. It was very helpful. We had 30 people at our meeting. People are tired and really scared of what's going on. So I think we just kind of maybe refocus where we should go as far as social media. That would help us a lot too. Thank you.
TikTok is what these are saying.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Lee? Oh,
Sure, thanks. And I'll be really brief. One thing that, and Claire mentioned this, that I think would be really helpful, particularly for those folks who have vacant seats on their committee, is, even if you just go into Van, print a list of people under the age of 30 who are Democrats, give the list to your committee members, see if there's anyone knows, and just call up and say, hey, we need more young people involved. Take a seat. You'll be able to impact with your vote on the committee about how we do things. You will have a voice. You might be surprised. You may get no one, but you may also get, 3 or 4 people, or the ability to start a Young Democrats in your county, or a part of the Democratic Women's Club that might be more exclusively younger folks, anything like that. The one thing that I'm concerned about, and I think this is very prevalent in West Virginia, is with Gen Z, the number of white males who are now very conservative. I interact with a lot of Gen Z people. I'm a millennial, but I'm not interacting with the ones who are pro-Trump, but there are so many of them. And I think rather than focusing on Gen Z as a monolith, we have to be more strategic and look at things like, does your school have, or the high school in your area, is there a Black student union? Is there a Latino union? and reaching out to those groups. Not that they're a monolith, but more likely than not, if you're a member of one of those student unions or student government, you're probably interested in politics. And then we have to figure out, are you a Democrat or Republican, independent, what have you. But I really think we have to compartmentalize when we're reaching out to Gen Z and go for those groups who disproportionately help Democrats win versus just going after everyone, because we may engage a lot of people who are going to vote against us who now feel, well, they're trying to rally me. I'm a pro-Trump person now. I need to do more. Anyway, just two thoughts about that. Thanks, Cal.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Kathy Link, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. There are 4 of us in our executive committee that started going down to our community center and playing pickleball. Now, I'm in my 70s, but we're mixing it up with other people that are at the community center, and we're finding Democrats that we didn't realize existed. So usually, like after a game, we'll go walk around the court and other people will join us, and they start talking about the daily news, what happened today, and oh my goodness, did you see that Trump thinks he's the king? And we're just really surprised at the conversations that are going on, that we're not starting, but we sure do engage if somebody does start a conversation. So we're thinking this community center is pretty busy every day with people coming and going, playing basketball and swimming. So we're thinking we might just set up a table there and see if we can do some voter registration. Just see how that goes. I'm not sure. We've tried voter registration before and not gotten very many people to, be engaged. But I feel a little bit better now than I did, a month ago. So we're getting there.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. No, I definitely see that, they're, for outreach in general, and overall, I think it's incredible, kind of the response we've gotten, especially in these past few weeks. And, I think us as county chairs, just having, being able to kind of be, a pillar within the community to you know, um, stand up and, be a voice. So with that being said, is there any interest in forming a maybe like a small subcommittee of this body of maybe examining youth voters or anything like that?
This is
I think it's a
Claire.
great idea.
Yes, Claire?
So I did send my first round of postcards to just Gen Z. I sent my second round of postcards to all the Gen X's. Then I sent my next one to women that were millennials, because that was pretty much the budget I could do. There is a difference. And the more people that get directly or closely scared for somebody in their circle, the more people that will finally decide to do something. But there's been a terrible thing, and I certainly understand it, because I put myself in enough stress that I did get physically sick. By the middle of November, I was very sick. But stress makes you sick. I understand this. And it also was very stressful to me when I would try to talk to people that 100% agreed, but didn't want to know what was happening because it was too stressful, until it hits somebody they know. Like, somebody has told me this repeatedly as a family member. That's the reason that I keep talking politics to them, even though they've told me they don't want to hear it. But they have a son and his wife that are Jags. Then suddenly they want to say, oh, look what Trump's doing. I'm like, yes, I knew he was planning to do that. yeah, that's why we've got to call our Congress people every day. but it is. I mean, if it's a close family or somebody that you care about that's getting impacted, you are going to pay attention, and that number is growing. Did anybody else participate in President's Day demonstrations?
We couldn't find one in our area. We're in the northern panhandle. And I think the closest to us was Charleston, which is like a 4.5 hour drive.
Oh, they had one in Morgantown.
We had two people I didn't go because it was really cold and bad roads that day, but we had two people, two of our Democratic women went.
To Charleston?
Morgantown.
Morgantown. And did they have a good turnout?
Yeah, they had a pretty decent turnout. And then Cal, when was it? They had another thing at Capito's office in Morgantown, and they had over 100 people there standing outside her office. That was
later.
different. Yeah. That was a different day. Yeah.
I really think that one benefited from more people got personally attacked or people they cared about.
Oh, yeah. I think that's why we're going to have a good turnout at ours, because we've lost a lot of the people that live here work in the forestry industry, and a lot of people have lost their jobs here. And so people are starting to wake up, and yeah, so I guess if that's what it takes, I think that's why we've seen an increase in the number of folks recently who've wanted to get involved, because they're being directly impacted. By now, we have the same people who are like, well, give him a chance. I'm like, really? Because he's done so much damage in 30 days that I don't really think I want to give him a chance. But you don't even, I mean, we don't engage with those people because they're not going to really change. Maybe unless it really impacts them, which it probably will, because I think all of us are going to be impacted by what's going on. It's at one point or another. Some of us a lot worse than other people. So we'll see.
Well, the people that care about national parks are a different group than the people that care about Veterans Suicide Hotline, are a different group of people than the people that care about Medicaid, which covers old people, and Social Security. I thought I really want to plan to go into the Community on Aging and talk to them, and not even necessarily say that I'm Democrat. Only say, do you know that that's been on the chopping block? And what will it even, I think a lot of West Virginia communities will totally shut down if people lose their Social Security checks, because they're just not going to be able to buy anything except try to stay alive.
I can't remember exactly what the figures are, but I wrote them down today for the number of people in West Virginia that receive benefits from Medicaid, and this affects childcare as well, and then cutting SNAP benefits. That's another thing that's on that chopping block. And West Virginia receives, I think, the second or third greatest amount of federal aid of any state. And there's going to be a lot of people impacted by this. Yeah, the red states get way more. They get a lot of the federal aid. The blue states don't. The blue states pay in, and then the red states are the ones that reap the benefits. So a lot of these people, I think they don't kind of know what's coming. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be interesting.
Republicans have said over and over again, oh, we're not going to touch Social Security. And then it's in their budgets to cut it. I mean.
Well, and I think it's important to tell people why they're cutting these things. they're cutting these, they want to raise the debt ceiling, first of all. And
Right.
you know, I mean, is there ever a Democrat in office when the Republicans aren't screaming about the debt ceiling? Okay. That's all
No.
you ever hear about when there's a Democrat in office or Democrat
Right.
president. They want to raise the debt ceiling, but what they want to do, they want to make, you know, they want to make all these cuts so they can justify extending Trump's tax cuts from 2017 and then adding more tax cuts on for people making above $320,000 a year, and then and corporations. I mean, this is their whole plan, and they want to cut all this stuff to justify doing this. So
And
we're
Musk
kind of
wants to go
off
to
topic
Mars.
here. I'm sorry. I'm on a rant. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I see that Kathy Link, you have your hand up, and then Jeff Fox.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I don't always believe when I see something on Facebook about a protest. I don't know who's putting it out and how legitimate it is, but I just noticed on the chat that Lee and Jeff just posted about some protests that are going on. But if we could have, is there someone I can check with or a way to know what protests are going on where? Or are they pretty much last minute? And I just don't know how to find out because most of the people in our group would like to participate. But I just don't know how to get the information.
That's a good question. I think a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of them are happening kind of organically or you know, groups that are recently forming. But I think, you know, definitely communication about them can sometimes be difficult to track down. Um, Jeff, I'll get to you now.
Yeah, I did share that graphic about a protest that is happening this Friday at noon in downtown Parkersburg. As y'all are probably aware, we were the first city visited by Doge after they left Washington, D.C. They were here on February 11th, and we marched that day, had between 150, 200 marchers. It was generally coordinated by the West Virginia ACLU, and they did a good job of getting everybody out there. It was not necessarily an anti-Trump march, but it was an anti-Doge, anti-snooping and private information, all that, you know, just bringing light to that. And that was on the 11th. Then on the 17th, the President's Day March, someone asked about earlier, we had quite a few of our members go over across the river to Washington County in Ohio. And the reason why is they have a congressional office there for Mike Ruley of the 6th Congressional District of Ohio. Unfortunately, Parkersburg being the 4th largest city in Parkersburg, none of the representatives have an office here now. It's really pretty disgusting. But you know, that's what we're faced with. But we did go over and support that that march in Washington County, about 120 people there. And then, of course, the one we're doing this Friday at noon in downtown Parkersburg, basically at 3rd and Market Street, around the courthouse. And both public debt buildings are there and will be marching around there. I've had a lot of action. Had calls from Reuters, from both WTAP and Parkersburg News and Sentinel, WCHS, you know, giving interviews and whatnot about the job losses at the Bureau of Fiscal Services. And, you know, probably the most impactful call that I had was a gentleman that worked at the Fiscal Services called me on Monday. And he talked to me on a terms of anonymity. I don't have his name or his phone number, but I believe him to be an office, a worker in the fiscal services, and he's a veteran, he's disabled, he's got one kid in college, one kid getting ready to go to college, and these folks have no idea what's happening with their careers or where things are headed. Um, he knew some of the workers that were laid off. He did not know all of them, but he said these were exemplary workers. They got high marks, high grades, all their performance reviews at the Parkersburg office. Everything was great. Well, turns out they were released for performance reasons, and you know, uh, he strongly believes that, uh, and I will say this, he worked or reports were being added to their personal worker profiles from someone outside of the Parkersburg area. So it's almost as if they were putting these negative comments, negative reviews to cover their butts down the line, because obviously there's going to be quite a few lawsuits about that. But we've been really pushing things on our Facebook page. We keep an idea of the insights. So like over the last 28 days, we've had 126,654 views on different things, and we've collected 152 new followers to our social media there. So it's, I hate to sound radical, but we're in a war. I mean, we truly are. And, it's not a physical war yet. I'm hoping it doesn't get there. But I think a lot of people spoke once it hits home. Well, it's starting to hit home for a lot of people around the state. It was sad, but to hear, the forestry industry and other folks. I'm sure there's VA. I've talked to veterans who their VA was already understaffed, couldn't keep the doctors there, and now, with cuts and whatnot. So just we're in the fight for survival here, and as far as I'm concerned, the gloves are off. I'm not, you can't trust a Republican. I'm sorry, you just can't trust them, and we're just going to have to show people that we are a viable option. We're the only option. We've had several people say about third party candidates and whatnot, or whatever you want to go with, ranked choice voting, and this and that and the other thing. Look, you're either going to stand with freedom and democracy and human rights, or you're going to be a dictator and a Nazi lover, in my opinion. So, and I'm not afraid to tell the general public that. So now I'm done with my rant. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for sharing all of that and everything that you're doing over there as well. I'm going to have Rick Staten speak next. He had some information to share.
Yeah, thank you. Two or three things. In regard to the protests, um, you all may be aware of it's a national organization called Drinking Liberally. It's not affiliated with the National Party or any state parties, but it's a lot of fun. You just meet and have dinner and talk politics. And we had our meeting tonight and had Eli Baumwell there from the ALCU. And there's several points about the protests that you all have mentioned where the ACLU was willing to be helpful. One is that they can provide trainings about civil protests and things that you are allowed to do versus things that might cross the line into civil disobedience for which you may be subject to arrest or other action. They are a resource for that. He says, and I'm sure we all understand this, they are extremely busy right now with litigation in the legislature and things like that. But if any of you want to contact Elaine, because I doubt you have my contact information, I do have a direct number for Rose Wyland, who works there, and her email address. Or you can just generally email info@aclu, I think WV.com, in regard to the trainings. We also asked him something you all have talked about in regard to these organic or pop-up protests that are happening, and it may be true in your areas as well, that some people are nervous to attend a protest if they don't know who's sponsoring it. And the 5150 was at least an example down here. There were a lot of people who, wanted to know more about who was behind it. And the ACLU doesn't act as a clearinghouse for those kind of things. And they, at least in our area, maybe yours as well, they're popping up like food trucks down here. So it's hard to track all that, but they have encouraged people to reach out to ACLU. They may or may not be able to confirm whether, who is behind the protest of the group, or for, who is forming the group or the protest, but they also are willing to send, if needed, what they call legal representatives. That would not be attorneys, but it's people who would be there, who would be witnesses if there are arrests and litigations that come out of it. So I guess you might call them watchdogs. And they are willing to send people out like that. And they also will, if you want to put on a protest, they will provide you with information about, like, whether you need to get permits or whether you should notify law enforcement in advance and those kind of things. And it was a very informative meeting. And I'll tell you, as a follow-up to what some of you have said earlier this evening about, people were starting to speak up and speak out. We had our largest group tonight for Drinking Liberally. We usually have maybe 8 or 10 people. We had 27 people there tonight. And I'm sure having Eli drove a lot of that, but there is a lot of anger and interest out there. Anyway, that's in regard to the protests and whether you might want to schedule it. Our county party is trying internally to try to help get that word out and try to track things down if there's going to be one, so that it can be, for lack of a better word, vetted. Pam Van Horn did a great job for us within the past week or two, because there was a protest that we could not find out who was sponsoring it, and Pam actually tracked it down, and it was I don't understand all the terminology, but it was a spoof account or something, and it wasn't really real. And she was able to track that down and intercept it and get information out to our county people about that. And then the other thing Elaine wanted me to tell you is that if you've not seen your email today, she sent you an email about county representation, county members of the Democratic executive committees. And if you have questions about that, or if you need some further documentation, feel free to reach out to Elaine. She's in a meeting. This is a busy time for CWA right now, and she's in a meeting tonight and couldn't attend.
Well, thank you so much for that, Rick. We really appreciate all those updates and the information. Pam Klein.
I just had a question back to the committee for the research on the young people. If I have I guess there's not a ton of us that are younger, but would it be something that somebody like one of our committee members that's 27 ran for House of Delegates last year? Would that be something maybe he could work on with the committee? Is that something we allow to do
Um,
on something like that? I don't know, on like a subcommittee or something.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure that we could explore that.
Maybe Lee would know the answer to that too.
I think that we would operate under the guidelines of, well, I don't know. I would say that the chair of any organization can, at his or her discretion or their discretion, appoint a subcommittee. How we do it, at least in my county, we have people on subcommittees who are not members of our committee, but each subcommittee is chaired by an executive committee member, and he or she or they have the opportunity to say yes or no to people who may want to join. I mean, we've never really said no to anyone, but an example might be if you've got, I don't know, someone under, an ethics cloud or something, and you don't really want them to be the face of something, that sort of thing. I don't really know if that helps. And I didn't mean to just jump in there, but at
No,
Pam's,
it's good.
I guess I did.
I just wondered if that was something you could consider.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could have, people assist us, especially if they're part of our committees. So that's something we can look for. Jeff?
Yeah, we had a couple people from local community college, a couple professors come to our last meeting, and a lot of, I know, starting organizations within the confines of either high school or most colleges, it has to be organically started and ran by the students, and then someone can advise them and everything. So that's one way of outreach. We were trying to find some teachers at our local high school that might have some idea about some younger people. But when I worked through the van last election cycle, I mean, I was cutting my turfs to talk to a lot of different people. Obviously, in the primary, I was talking Democrats, but wow, the young Democratic registered voters are few and far between, and it's really not surprising given the fact that how our state has been voting red for a while, and so they kind of follow in their parents' footsteps, and I'll be the bad guy to say it, but a lot of them are getting this reinforcement to lean conservative because a lot of folks here in this state attend church on a regular basis, and they're hearing it from the pulpit. We have several huge churches here in the Parkersburg area that are super active in politics, and even one of them even hosts political rallies, and they say, well, we're renting our church out. It's not an official church functions, but still, it's disheartening to see that how much influence, I applaud I love the idea of the table at the community center that the lady said earlier. I think that's a good idea, but even that, we're thinking like, well, how many people we going to get? But I guess we're at the point where some is better than nothing, so it's just hard to crack the red wave right now until they wake up. It's almost like an addiction thing. We battle that in a lot of places in West Virginia, and we hear no one's really going to get better until they themselves understand they need to get better and want to seek help. And that's kind of where a Republican's at right now, or a conservative voter, or whatever. They got to realize, hey, this is wrong. We need to switch something. And it may be harder to get people to seek political help than it is personal medical help. It's tough right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it definitely is. Cindy, I see your.
I just have a quick question, and I'm sorry I'm getting away from the youth vote thing. Um, is there some way that we as an organization, along with maybe Democratic women, could set up a meeting with Riley Moore with our representatives. I know that on his page, he has you can fill out this events form, and there's various times when they have to come back and allegedly meet with their constituents. But I really feel like we need to meet with these people. I mean, I am calling every day, and I've got so many people here calling every day and emailing every day. I just, I think we have to put these people on the spot. I think we need to meet them face to face and say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to our state? You know, why, why? And I think it would be more impactful if if we as an organization, county chairs organization, or along with Democratic women's organizations, if we would request a town hall. Now, I've seen these things where they're not granting them anymore because so many of the
Mhm.
Republicans have been put on the spot. But I think it would be something that we should at least try to do, is to set up a town hall with them. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I don't want to, I don't want to do this on my own, but I think it would be effective if we had a lot of people there.
Mhm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Kathy Link.
Yeah, Cindy, I'm with you. We had talked about this at our last meeting. How do we get a town hall going? And how do we put pressure on them to have a town hall? Because we have Pat McGeehan, who's just uh giving away our West Virginia money to Ohio, and we would really like get some questions answered from him too. And I don't know where to start, but if somebody else does, I'm in, I'm there. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Pam Garrison.
Thank you. I'd just like to give just a few comments on the things that have been talked about so far. The Fayette County Dems had their executive meeting this evening. We voted to host a town hall meeting. I would like to make it a regional town hall. I would like our county committees that are closest, Nicholas, Raleigh, Wyoming, Mercer. I would like to work with the other committees to where we could make it a huge regional town hall. We will invite them, but if they don't come, we're going to have a big chair with a big sign with their name on it, and the social media will be dead on it. One of our members now is looking for the place. We're looking at the, like the coliseums here, things we've got, the memorial building, places that we could host something like that. Um, I would like to, I'd like to see 200 or 300 people there, and I think if we work as a coalition together, I think all of us in our counties, and especially reaching out to our women's leagues and getting our allies, our supporters, to come on board with it. Would be huge, and it would be. I would like to invite the Democrats to where the constituents can ask them questions, plus the other and the Republicans, because we know the Republicans aren't going to show up, and like I said, we're going to show that too. But I think it would be a great way for us to do voter outreach, to do we have to get into our communities more. We just had a community meeting. The Fayette Dems partners with the Fayette Fair Share, which is a pact here in Fayette County and one of our biggest allies and helpers. We did a community meeting. What we did is we sent it out to people in Fayette County, their eye contact lists and things. We got together. It was our first meeting. Mostly people talked about it was their feelings and things like that. But what we want to do is be ready for the collapse. if they get these bills passed and stuff, I've reached out to the health department to see what kind of plans they have for our county in case something does happen. Our co-chair is on the board of the Fayette County Health Department, so he's helping us keep up with what things that are going on there. They're trying to do away with the needle exchange, things like that, that he's been involved with. And reaching out to, like I said, our food pantries, our medical providers, our hospital, start trying to get some kind of a strategy, a plan together for what our people's going to do, what's going to happen to our people. The religious part, I agree with that 100%. The rise of false religious nationalism has plagued, it has been a cancer in our country, and it has definitely been a cancer in West Virginia. We are the Bible Belt. So many people claim to be Christians. With the Poor People's Campaign, I'm tri-chair. Right now, we are getting locations and people that would be interested in putting on our documentary. We have got a documentary called Bad Faith that takes you through and shows you how this Christian nationalism came to be in our country, all the way from Ronald Reagan to, and the arms that are in it that are still in our government to Trump. How Trump got to be in this and everything. It is about an hour and a half long documentary. If any counties would like to use that for a to gather in your constituents, to have, to meet people and stuff, use the documentary as as to a gathering, your topic or whatever, to be able to get and open these conversations. That is, I think, a good way. It's hard to open the religious conversations with people. And I think it is plumb full. Reverend Barber hosted, Reverend Liz. It's got a great amount of information and things that are in it. So that is some of the things I just wanted to let you know. That's some of the things that we are doing here in Fayette County. And so I will be sending some things out for you, Carl, to let the other county chairs know some information and things that you can send out to, if anybody would like to reach out to me or would like to participate in something like that, or work together on an event or on something like that. And so we're working on trying to get lined up our fairs and festivals. I'd like to be in the state fair this year. We did a lot of really good contacts when we were there in the booth, spent the day for the state fair. I encourage every committee to try to take a day and to be up there. It is really worth it. And so that I don't want to take up too much time, Carl. I know this, your meeting's going on, but I just wanted to put that out there and let everybody know. Fayette County is busy. We are working, and if there's anything that we can do to help grow or assist in what you are doing, I've got contact with Matt Kerner, who's over the Upshur County. I sent him a message to see if he could join the county committee, if he could come to the meeting tonight. He was in other meetings, but Matt is he's good about. He's got a lot of contacts in Upshur County and stuff. He's a good one to have on there. So I just would like to let everybody know that, and thank you, Carl, and thank everybody for everything that y'all are doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that information, Pam. I think it's really great that you guys are having a town hall, and really just getting active. I'm really, really excited to hear that.
Thank you.
Jared Powell.
Yep. Thank you so much, Cal. So I appreciate the conversation I've been hearing this evening about youth engagement, and I think there is a lot of excitement among the county chairs for doing this. So to encourage that, I did want to offer a motion for us to consider then. I'll put that in chat and then also read aloud. I would move to establish a special subcommittee on youth outreach and engagement with members appointed by the chair of the CCA. This subcommittee shall provide regular reports of its findings at each CCA meeting and shall continue its work until either the CCA or the subcommittee determines that its mandate has been fulfilled.
Pam Klein, I'd like to second that.
Okay, the motion has been made by Jared Powell and seconded by Pam Klein to establish a special subcommittee on youth outreach and engagement. Is there any further discussion, about this? Okay, all those in favor of forming this, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. We will form that subcommittee, and I will I'm happy to take, anybody who's interested on being on it, whether you want to express interest tonight or send me an email. I know Lee Kuntz sent me a message saying that he's interested. But anybody else who is, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll get that set up and really start delving into it. I just wanted to kind of move on down through the agenda because it is getting to be 8:30. In the for the good of the order, I just wanted to highlight I was going to go ahead and schedule out on the Democratic Party's events and calendar our meetings for the rest of the year, just so that everybody has the dates. Which we meet on the last Wednesday of each month. So I will email all those dates out to everybody so that we have them. I'll also work on trying to make Google Calendar events for those as well for everybody. So those hit your emails. And that way we'll have those. I am a little bit questionable about the November and December meetings simply because that falls the day before Thanksgiving and also New Year's Eve, and I want to be respectful of people's holiday time as well. So we'll cross that bridge probably this summer when we get to that in regards of what we'd like to do in the winter time for that. For the good of the order, Pam Klein, I see your hand up still.
I just wanted to tell Pam Garrison, Nicholas County would be in on that. And also, I've got a pretty good source, and you guys have probably heard this too. Jim Justice is flying in he's flying out every morning to DC and in every evening to the Lewisburg Airport. We could always rally over there. You never know. I
That's a
do
really good point.
know the pilot very well, and my good friend across the street. I forget what he calls himself, that guy on the Tool Tim guy, the guy that goes over the fence. But anyway, he kind of tracks that flight, so we could maybe pin that down sometime.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And, part-time governor turns into a part-time senator. Can't afford a yacht to live in.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's terrible joke. But anyways, so with that, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I just wanted to say thank you all for tonight. This is really great. I just love hearing everybody. I'm sure everybody feels this way too. It's really great to be in a virtual room, I should say, of Democrats, and hearing about all the good things that are happening in the state, all around the state, and that we're really, really rallying. And I've got a lot of hope for I know it looks bleak this legislative session, but I just have a lot of hope about us rallying and organizing this year and really hitting the ground running for 2026. So with that, is there anything else, anything additional?
I would move
Okay.
to adjourn.
Okay,
Pam Klein, sorry.
moves to adjourn. And who was the second? I'm sorry.
I second.
Claire.
Okay, I heard Terry and Pam, or Claire second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye. Great
we
meeting.
are adjourned. It's 8:32 p.m. Once again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And
Thank
have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yep.
Hold the line.
Chairman.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.